意里面呢也有分，里面，OK， 论义里面呢分就是一共8种，就是忏悔的皈依发心，就是积累资粮的，一共有8种。8种里面呢，我们现在应该是在忏悔业力的里面。那忏悔业力里面，再往下看的话，现在应该是在忏悔业力里面又分一个总义和论义。然后总义讲完，现在是在论义里面。论义里面呢，今天我们要讲到的是思维死亡及恐怖而升起皈依之心的这个地方。
So today we continue on the teaching on the Bodhisattva way of life. We are currently on the chapter 2, which is the confession of karmic obscuration. So within this chapter, there's the overall general broad teaching, meaning, and as well as the actual content of the actual teaching itself. So also within the actual content, it has divided into 8 types of methods, including taking refuge, practice of confession, accumulating merits, etc. So we are currently on the confession of karmic obscuration. And as we continue on, this also includes the overall general meaning as well as the actual teaching itself. So today, we are on the section or topic that to contemplate about death and having do so to generate fear and begin to take refuge.
然后呢，这里呢，主要我们在讲的是什么呢？主要在讲的就是，因为我们的众生的无明，然后呢，为自己今生的亲人朋友，就在无意的过程当中造下了很多很多的罪业。当这些罪业呢，最后是谁会承受呢？是自己一个人会去承担这一切的罪过，所以呢，就是没有任何人会帮我们分担自己所遭的这些罪业的这个果报。那这样的话呢，就我们一定要认知到，其实在今生的我们的这个亲人也好，朋友也好，这些都是无常的。当我们在离开这个世界、这个人生的时候，唯一跟我们一起的就是业力，不管你是积累的善业也好，恶业也好，这个是跟随我们的。除此之外呢，我们的亲人也好，朋友也好，任何人都不跟随我们。所以呢，在这里就是主要提到的就是说，不要为自己的亲人或是朋友然后在没有必要的前提下呢，制造很多的恶业这个是之前的课里面的意思。
So here, what we are mainly focusing on is the fact that because of sentient beings' ignorance, we continue to commit many of the karmic obscurations unintentionally in regards to our own loved ones as well as friends. However, as we continue to create these, obscurations, there's really no one else that will share the karmic results with us except our own self. Yeah, so here, thereby, we need to really understand that whether it's family, loved ones, or friends, they're all impermanent. So because when we leave this world, they will not able to follow us. The only thing that will be able to follow us is our own karma, whether it's positive or negative. So thereby, again, other than karma, no one else can follow us, not even our loved ones nor our friends. So thereby, here is as we mentioned in the previous class, it's really to point out that it is really unnecessary to create all these or commit all these negative, karmic obscurations, in regards to our loved ones as well as our friends.
那有人说，我还是需要我的亲人呢。当我死亡的时候，亲人们对我还是有帮助。如果这样想呢，其实这个只是你的想法而已。真正上来说，对此人自己要死的时候，亲人是对你没有任何的帮助的。接下来就是讲这个，就说临终弥留际，众亲虽围绕，命绝诸痛苦，唯吾一人受。这个就是说，如果你觉得亲人朋友这些对你有帮助的话，其实这只是我们自己的一个错误的一个想法而已。真正的，当你面临死亡的时候，不管你的亲戚朋友们在你的周围围绕着你，真正痛苦的这个他们是没有办法帮你分担一点都没有办法帮你分担的。所以虽然他们围绕着你，但是所有的命绝的这个痛苦，唯一谁受呢？就是自己一个人承受。所以亲人和朋友是完全没有办法，无法帮你承担这一切的痛苦的。所以呢，这些一切痛苦只有唯有自己一个人而承受的。
But here, there are some people that may say that, they will still need our family and loved ones when they pass away. They will able to help them. However, to think that your family and friends will able to help you when you are passing away is really your own wishful thinking. In reality, they can't really do much to help you at all. As it says here, although lying here on a bed and relying on relatives, I alone have to bear the feeling of being cut off from my vitality. So here, just to point out that to have such thinking that having friends and family will benefit you when you die, is really wrongful thinking. Because when you're actually in the process of dying, the suffering of dying is only you are enduring. It cannot be shared by anyone else but yourself. So here, again, it's to point out that there's really no one else that can able to help you in terms of the when you come to the death, that only yourself will have to endure such suffering.
然后这里说谋士来指使亲朋有何意？当我们的死主就是阎罗王要带你走的时候，这一刹那，我们的亲朋没有任何的意义，他没有办法帮助我们做任何的事情，不让我们走，或者不让我们受这个痛苦所以呢，这个时候就是亲朋有何意，就是根本他们做不了任何的事情。那这个时候唯一能够帮助我们的是什么呢？就是为佛福能救护，虽然我未曾修唯一可以帮助我们的是什么呢？这个时候就是如果是你在活着的时候，你有积累过福德福报修行等等有做过这样的事情的话，在那个时候唯一能够救护我们的就是这个。然而我曾经根本没有修这样的法，所以呢，这个时候就是什么都没有了，一切都是空的。
So here, and as it says that, for a person seized by the messengers of death, what good is relative and what good is friend? At that time, merit alone is a protection, and I have not applied myself to it. So here it says that when the messenger of death, or referred as the Yama, when the Lord of death comes to take you away, to take you to death, your friends and family really couldn't do much to help you. They're not able to help you to escape death itself. So thereby they cannot benefit you at all in this case. So the only thing that will be able to help you, the only thing that will benefit you is merit. And it's the only thing that is when you have merits, then that will be beneficial to you. This means that when you're still alive, you're able to engage in practice, accumulate image, etc. So and at that time, only that will able to protect you. And yet it says that here that yet I have not applied myself to it, meaning that yet I have not done so. So thereby by that moment, there's nothing else that will help you. Everything is just empty.
然后接下来呢说，放逸，我谓之死亡如始怖，故为无常生轻造诸多罪啊。这个时候呢，就是开始生后悔之心啊，就说我因为不知道死亡是如此的无常，然后也不知道这个无漏的这个身体是这么的短暂啊，所以呢，我一直放逸，就是没有真正的去实修佛法。现在呢，面临这样的恐怖，也就是真正到那个时候呢，就是会真正的惊慌恐怖，然后呢，就是到处找这个可以救护的对境啊，这样，这个是虽然还没有死之前说的，只是呢在讲当时如果是没有修法的话，在那个情况下会是怎么样的啊，就是在描述这个情况。你会怎么想？你会怎么做？这样。
So here as it reads says, O protectors, I negligent and unaware of this danger, having acquired many vices out of attachment to this transient life. So here it says that here began to having these having regrets, because since we did not know how impermanent death is, and not knowing how this body is also impermanent, so yet we have become neglected and not yet practiced Buddha Dharma while we are alive, and then by the moment of death, we will be scared and try to look for protection to anything to secure ourselves. So here, this is to point out that although this is being pointed out that it's been, we are still talking about why we're still alive, but this is really to say that if you have not engaged in practice of Kirin merit or Buddha Dharma practice, this is what you will think and what you would do. This is what would happen if you do not engage in practice while still alive. And when you die, this is what's going to occur, what's going to happen.
这以上就是略说这个死亡恐怖的这个地方接下来就是广说若今复刑场，罪犯忧惊怖口干眼突楚形象异骨息，何况行恐怖模式所执持，大部忧苦产，苦集不待言所以这里说，我们比如说看到今生就是一个人他要到刑场就是因为有罪过，然后去这个刑罚的时候带去的时候，大家都很恐怖，很惊慌，就眼睛都凸得更加的大，然后呢，就是整个脸都看起来苍白的就是身体也是发抖的，然后就是这个是在人间的一个刑场捉捕你的人也是跟你一样长得跟你一样的人在这样的一个情况下，人都会吓成这样。那如果是当被这个阎罗罪这个阎罗王他们被抓住的时候，被他们带走的时候，那个惊慌跟那个恐怖，那就是更加可怕的因为那个时候你在身边没有任何一个认识的人，跟你在捉捕你的这些阎罗王完全是跟你长得不一样的，都是长得非常可怕的，很大的，很凶恶的，然后手上拿的都是非常可怕的这个武器，所以当落到他们的手中，你可以想一想会有多恐怖，会有多可怕的。
It says that one completely languages while being led today to have the limbs of one's body amputated. Parched with thirst and with pitiable eyes, one sees the world differently. So here it says that amputate, or it says that if someone is being about to get amputated, then that one person will really have a completely different look. They will be parched with thirst, and then they will be have pitiable eyes, and then they will really be scared. They will see the world differently. They will really be afraid and don't know what to do. So if a normal person would be scared in this situation where they're being led to have their part of their body amputated or to the execution ground, then how you can think that how scarier it will be if the messenger of death or Yama comes to get you, because at that moment there will be no one else like you. You will be by yourself alone, and you're left with this really scary person, scary being, this Yama, with someone who's really scared and has weapons and really to come and just grab you and take you away. So this is something for you to contemplate, that if someone will be that scared, and when it comes to amputation of one's body or execution, then you can imagine how even more scarier when the messenger of death comes.
谁能救护我离此大不为？睁大吐不言四方寻求护，四方便寻觅，无一心傲丧，必除苦无一惶惶所何所从？在这个时候，当真的是被这个狱卒捉捕，然后呢拖走的时候，那这个时候他的恐怖就是非常可怕的。这个时候呢，眼睛也凸大，然后四方会寻找就是救护的护犊，但是那个时候因为自己的业力，你不管怎么找也找不到任何就是帮助你的、救护你的这样。所以当那个时候看到四方都完全没有救护的情况下的话，那这个时候那个惊慌，那个恐怖就是非常可怕的。我们在活着的时候，我们如果是有受什么这个被警察抓啦，或者有什么罪犯的时候，你还可以找律师，你还可以有的亲人朋友可以依靠这些可以帮助你。但是在那个时候没有，如果是在活着的时候自己没有修行的话，没有任何人可以寻求的。就好像我们可以看一下今生活生生的，我们可以看一下当业力现前的时候，真的是没有办法的。你可以到那个菜市场，你可以到那个屠宰场去看一下这些众生，就是眼睁睁的被宰杀的时候，那个感觉，那些众生的那个感受，他们根本没有办法逃避，也没有地方可以依靠，也没有办法找到就是可以帮助他们的，唯一的一条路就是被那里宰杀就是一样的道理，就是这样的所以呢，我们可以看当真正的业力现前的时候是非常可怕的。所以呢，我们在业障还没有现前，多忏悔甚至呢，就是最好就是不要去遭这个业力。如果有遭这样的业的话，就是尽量的去忏悔，这个是必须的。如果是自己疼爱自己的话，必须得做的事情的如果是自己说不疼爱自己，这是假的。没有一个人不疼爱自己的。然后如果说是我不怕的话，这也是假的，没有一个人不怕的除非你已经证悟了空性，你已经证悟了这个大圆满的法的话，那就是远离了这些一切了，那个时候是真正的不怕。但是一个普通人说不怕是完完全全是假的。有些人说我不怕死，完全是假的。有些人说我不怕这个死亡的这些恐惧，不怕地狱，不怕这个不怕那个，完全是假的。当你面临的时候，你看看你怕不怕你可以看一下怕不怕。你如果是不怕的话，你在活着的时候就是活生生的用一个刀子割一个割鼻，手割下来，看他怕不怕。连这个都怕的话，那地狱里面的这些痛苦就比这个还要更恐怖几千倍几万倍所以呢，从这些方面上要自己深深的考虑，要去思维然后呢，在今生 该忏悔的忏悔，今后就是能够不去做业的，这就是尽量避免这个方面是一定要作为一个修行人是一定要谨慎小心的。
So here as it reads that how much more is one overpowered by the horrifying appearances of the messenger of death as one is consumed by the fever of terror and smeared with the mass of excrement. So this is relating to the teaching we just talked about. And as it continues, well, with distress glance, I seek protection in the four directions. Which good person will be my protection from this great fear? Seeing the four directions devoid of protections, I return to confusion. What shall I do in that state of great fear? So here, when you're being taken away by the Yama or these beings from hell realm, it's actually will be very scary that your eyes will be really pouring out, trying to look for protections. But however, due to your own karmic obscuration, there will be no other protection. So in that, when you're in that kind of state of fear, this intense fear, that is something that's very scary, because when we are still alive, if we have been arrested or we committed some crime, at least we can have to look for the resource of help from lawyers, relatives, or friends. However, here at the time of death, if you have not engaged in the practice of Buddha Dharma while you're still alive and accumulating merits, there will be no protection at all at the time of your death. And this is something that we can observe in our current lives now. Yeah, we can just go to the market or the butchery, and we can see all those living beings, these living animals. They cannot run anywhere. There's nowhere else to escape. The only route for them to remain is to be killed, and basically to die. So that is really something that's very scary. That is really horrifying when the karmic manifests. So thereby, before our negative karma or before these negative karma manifest, we even need to make sure to engage to constant practice of confession. And the best thing is not to commit any of these negative karmic actions. Because if you truly are someone who loves yourself, this is something that you really should do to really protect yourself. And for someone to say they don't love themselves, that's a lie, because there's no one else who would not love their own selves in this world. And also, if someone says they are not scared, that is also a lie, because unless you're someone who have attained the realization of emptiness or dzogchen, which you are free from all these attachments, then you will definitely be scared, because this is what's going to happen. And to say you're not scared it's just lies, because there are people that they say they're not afraid of death, they're not afraid of anything or hell realms. But if they're not really afraid of those things, what if you try cutting their arms with a knife? Let's see what happens. Let's see if they would be scared or they would do anything. Because if they're really even scared by just getting cut on their arm, then then the process of dying as well as the rebirth hell realm is even more scarier. It's more intense. It's 10, 100, 1,000-fold worse than just having your arms cut. So thereby, as a Buddha Dharma practitioner, it is really vital that we are constantly engaged in practice of confession, and then really be careful not to commit any of the negative karmic obscurations.
然后在这里呢，当我们真正的有这样的恐惧的时候，唯一的可以帮助我们的什么呢？就是三宝所以呢，这一下就是讲就是寻求护主三宝这里就是皈依共同三宝，佛为众护主慈悲勤护生能力除众惧，故我今皈依如是亦皈依，能出轮回部，我佛所悟法，即菩萨圣众。这里呢，就是首先就是因为在轮回里面有这么多的痛苦，有这么多恐惧的地方， 所以呢，我唯一的办法就是我皈依三宝啊，皈依佛啊，就是佛是我们一切众生的护主啊，大慈大悲的，永远可以就是救度我们的，从我们把我们从这个恐惧当中救护出来的，就是能够救护我们的，就是唯一就是佛啊，所以呢，因为这个我今天皈依佛，哎呀。
Says right now, I go for refuge to the protectors of the world, whose power is great, to the genius, who strive to protect the world and who eliminate every fear. Likewise, I earnestly go for refuge to the Dharma that is mastered by them and that annihilates the fear of the cycle of existence, and to the assembly of Bodhisattvas as well. So here, because of there's so much fear and horrifying things in samsara, we at that moment we take refuge, we seek protection in the three jewels. As we take refuge in the Buddha, who is the Lord Protector, with great compassion that we're able to liberate us from these sufferings. So thereby, with that in mind, we take refuge in the three jewels today.
不但是皈依佛，而且我要皈依菩萨圣众，就是大菩萨门。那这里说，因不尽禅力，将身奉普贤，亦复以此身，尽现文殊尊，哀号力呼求，不昧大悲行，慈悲观世音，求赎，罪人我。复以虚空藏及地藏王等一切大悲尊，由衷起救护，皈依金刚手，唤称言模式，见彼心为具，四方速逃逸。这里呢，就是主要是皈依这些八大菩萨就是说从观世音菩萨。然后呢，文殊菩萨、普贤菩萨、地藏王菩萨，虚空藏菩萨这些都一一的就是点名。我在遇到这样非常恐惧所以呢，我把我自己的身体、身口意供养你们。我把身口意供养你们是为了什么呢？并不是为了你们需要我的身体，而是我需要你们的救护。所以呢，你们要保护我。所以呢，我将我的身口意都供养你们。所以你们要救护我从这个三界六道轮回的痛苦当中救护我，所以呢，我就要皈依你们，供养你们就是八大菩萨。尤其是这里说是金刚手菩萨，金刚手菩萨是愤怒尊嘛，所以说当这个阎罗王他们都看到金刚手菩萨的时候，都会怕到四处逃避所以呢，就是这么就是一个愤怒的有威王的这个金刚手菩萨，我也要皈依你，请你将我这个罪人从这个痛苦当中解救出去就意思是这样。所以这里就是说了八大菩萨全部都我要皈依你们这样。
So here, not only we take refuge with the Buddha, but we also take refuge with the great Bodhisattvas as well. So here, it mainly, as it points out here, trembling with fear, I offer myself to Samantabhadra, and of my own will I offer myself to Manchugosa. Terrified, I utter a mournful cry to the protector, Avalokita, whose conduct overflows with compassion, that he may protect me, a sinner. Seeking protection, I earnestly invoke noble Akasagarba, Siddhigarba, and all the compassionate ones. I bow to Vajri, upon the sight of whom the messenger of death and other malevolent beings flee in terror to the four directions. So here it mainly talks about we not only we take refuge with the Buddha, we also take refuge with the 8 great bodhisattvas. That includes Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri, Akasagarba, Siddhigarba, etc. That we take refuge with them, that we offer them our body, speech, and mind. It is also not that they will need or want our body, speech, and mind, but we do so in order to seek protection from them, so that we may be free from the suffering of samsara. So thereby, as we engage, we will take refuge and make offering to the 8 great bodhisattvas. And here, In particular, Rajri or Rajapani is a wrathful deity of Bodhisattva that Yamas or any other malevolent beings, when they see Rajapani, they will be in a great state, will be scared and run away. So here we really point out that we seek refuge of the 8 great Bodhisattvas.
然后就是如何皈依啊，就是如何皈依呢？是悉为尊圣教今生大忧惧，愿以归命尊求速除不为就是往昔我完全不知道就是违犯誓言，违犯这个戒律就是造业力的话，有这么就是可怕的果报这么可怕的痛苦，所以呢，现在我才领悟到了，我才知道了，原来造业的这个果报是这么可怕的，这么痛苦的。所以呢，我从以前就是违背了这些一切的戒条一切的这些罪业的话，我从今以后，我如此的就是领悟到了这些这个痛苦，所以呢因为这个我产生了极大的痛苦和恐怖所以我要皈依你们，请你们帮我从这个痛苦当中呢去迅速的解救出来，从此以后呢我再也不造这样的业力是这样。
Then here he began to talk about how to take refuge, and he points out that after neglecting your counsel, in terror I go to you for refuge. Now as I face this fear, swiftly remove my fear. Even one frightened by a fleeting illness would not disregard the physician's advice. How much more so one afflicted by the 404 disease. So here it's talking about that before we did not know how scary or how intense the suffering is by transgressing vows, precepts, and committing karmic obscuration. So now that we finally know, and that from now on, because I know this fear, I take refuge in you, and I ask you to, the protectors, to take us away from this suffering, and that from now on, we will never commit of these transgressions.
接下来呢，就是我们在这个忏悔里面有个四对治力，对不对？四对治里面的现在就是现行对治力，因为这里面的四对治力呢，它是比较广的在讲，有时候有比喻啦，这样那样，所以大家也许没有办法琢磨到，但是呢，你们仔细的去看的话，它4个对治力都是非常仔细的这里讲了。所以接下来这个呢，就是现行对治力。现行对治力里面呢，有分很多个，然后现在接下来一个就是以患者之喻说明，以患者的比喻来说明这个现行对治力是怎么样的这样。
So we are currently actually talking about the 4 powers of confessions. Although it is not pointed out directly, but we are currently going to be talking about the power of antidote. And if you have to read carefully, that although it's not pointed out clearly, but the 4 powers are actually taught in great details here. So now we'll be beginning on the teaching of the power of antidote itself. And this is by regarding as a metaphor as the patient with illness.
若举寻常疾尚须遵医嘱，何况贪等患，白罪恒缠身这个意思是什么呢？就是举一个例子，我们今生如果是一个人得到了什么严重的疾病的时候，那你看医生的时候，你就完完全全要按照医生一个这个医生的这个怎么说，给你开的药然后要让你就是说，比如说在生活的习惯上的改变然后要怎么样做这些全部要按照医生的说法去做，这样才可能治好你的病所以这个大家都是非常遵守医生的那个说法医生说不要让我这样做，医生说不要让我做医生说让我不要喝酒，我不能喝酒，医生说让我不能吃肉，我就不要吃肉等等的，这些大家都为了今生的一个疾病都非常的遵守照医嘱。那如果是那这个的话是跟我们的业障来比的话，这个就 差别就太大了。如果今生医生这样说，你不按照医生的做法去做的话，了不起也就是你失去一个生命啊，你就死一次而已，没有什么大不了的啊，就今生的这个寿命就没有了，这样而已。但是呢，如果是这里说，何况贪等患，贪嗔痴慢疑的这个五毒的这个病，是比我们现在所谓的医生帮我们治疗的身体上的这个病还严重，就是几百倍、几千倍。为什么这么说呢？因为我们今生的肉体得到的这个病，不管再怎么严重，它可以就是杀害，让我们的失去一个生命而已，再没有什么别的。但是贪等五毒的这个病，我们不治好的话，它可以让我们失去成百上千个生命啊，甚至几亿个生命，而且在这个地狱恶鬼道、旁生道里面，会让我们受无边无际的痛苦。所以这个跟今生的这个病来比的话，是完全没有办法相比的。但是恰恰相反，很多人就是对今生的这个短暂的痛苦跟今生的这个病非常的注重，但是呢，对于未来来世的这些痛苦就完全放在一边。这个就是我们所谓的众生的无明啊。所以在这里有这个比喻来告诉我们啊，我们今生的病是一个短暂的病，那贪等五毒是个很可怕的病，所以这个是更应该要小心、更应该要治疗的一个病。这样。
So here reads again that even one is frightened by a fleeting illness would not disregard the physician's advice. How much more so one afflicted by the 404 diseases? So here, this is to give a metaphor that, for example, if someone has a really serious illness in this life, in the mundane life, and when they go see a doctor, they will really follow whatever the doctor prescribed or advice, including lifestyle change, taking medicine, prescriptions, etc. So these will all be followed by the patient under the doctor's advice carefully. And this is something that's really common among almost all the patients or all the sick people. So including, if, for example, if the doctor said there'll be no alcohol, then the patient will follow. If the doctor says no meat, no consume of meat, then the patient will follow as well. So this is something that generally people who are in illness will generally follow the doctor's advice in this life if they are sick. However, if we compare to the illness or sickness of this life with our karmic obscuration, then that difference is really significant. It's really tantamount that such that if the mundane life, if you really don't follow the doctor's advice, then you really just lose your life this life. It's really not that no big deal. However, to compare with the illness of the mental affliction or the 5 poisons, the 5 poisons are much worse than, much more serious and worse than the illness of this life that you endured, because the illness of this life is only one life. However, the illness or the illness of the 5 poisons will have such damaging effect that it will cause us to lose 100,000 or even millions of our lives to come, and also it will cause us to endure immense suffering in the lower realms. However, because of the ignorance of sentient beings, they don't focus too much. They don't really pay attention to the illness of the 5 poisons, and yet they focus so much on the illness of the mundane life. So really here, this phrase is really to teach us, to point out that compared to the illness of this mundane life, that's really little in comparison with the 5 poisons, because that 5 poison will have so much more worse and severe damaging effect. And that we really should pay more attention and take more consideration in the 5 poison, in the illness of the 5 poisons.
当然，这里讲的并不是说今生医生的医嘱啊，医生怎么讲你不用听了，或者是这个医生现在的疾病啊这些不用看，不是这个意思。意思就是说，你这个今生的这样的一个小小的病，你都那么担心，然后就那么专心的再去看的话，那我们所说的何况贪等患，白罪恒缠心贪等患这种 病，就是在缠着身体这样的话，这是更加应该谨慎，更加应该要好好的去治疗，意思就是这个啊，就连小小的一个病我们都在看的话，那这个大病更加应该要谨慎的去好好的治疗这个病啊，是这个意思。
Of course, it's not to say that to in this life just ignore the doctor's advice when you're sick. That's not what it means here. It means that here it's trying to point out that even with the illness of this life, you are so worried and you seek all the medical attention you will do. But to compare to that with the illness of the five poison that are really bound to you, that the five poison really requires really more attention and requires even more diligent treatment. So again, if you pay so much attention to the small illness, then you really should also put more attention and more consideration to this really severe illness of the five poisons.
宜称若能毁，占卜一切人，疗愈诸药方遍寻。若不得，医王一切智，拔苦诸圣教。知以苦不行，吃即因应呵责啊，这里就在讲，比如说我们的五毒烦恼里面的一个，就是一个嗔心啊，它的力量有多大？就一颗嗔心的力量都可以毁灭这个南瞻部洲的所有的人啊，这是很可怕的，就一个病就可以毁灭那么多的人。那我们比如说现在有些有精神病的人，就说这个他可能如果是这个精神病的人放在外面的话，他会这个伤害其他的人，就把他关起来啊等等的这样啊。其实精神病的人他能够毁，也就可能伤害几十个人、几百个人这样。但是呢，嗔恨心这个很严重的嗔恨心的话，它可以损毁南瞻部洲所有的人。怎么说呢？我们比如举一个例子，现在我们这个世界上已经因为科技发达，有核武器啊。如果是一个有核武器在手上的一个人，他真正的升起了一个强烈的嗔恨心，如果他这个发送出去，你可想而知，所有的人可以毁灭，地球都可以毁灭掉。所以这个嗔心是多么可怕的一个。其实所以呢，疗愈这样的嗔恨心、这样五毒的这个药方，在别的地方我们怎么找是找不到的，没有任何一个地方可以治疗这种病的一个方子、一个药方，完全找不到的。唯一是哪里有呢？就是医王一切智就是佛的智慧佛的智慧，诸佛菩萨们才是找到了拔除这种就是非常严重的这个病的这个根。这样的一个药方所以呢，我们就是一定应该要依靠这种殊胜的药方来拔除这个可怕的这种病这样。
And here continues, of which just one can annihilate all people living in Jambudvipa, for which a medicine is not found in any region. If I disregard the counsel of the omniscient physician, who removes every pain, shame on me, extremely deluded one that I am. So here it points out that even with just one of the five poisons, for example, the poison of anger, the moment of anger can destroy all the beings in Jambudvipa. This one illness can destroy everyone. For example, in comparison, if someone with a mental illness is out there, then that person may harm a group of people of 10, 20, or 30. However, the poison of anger can truly harm all the beings on Earth or Jambudvipa. Because, for example, nowadays we have nuclear missiles and other type of massive destruction, massive weapons of destruction. If the holder of someone who possesses these weapons has a really strong anger, poison of anger, then that could lead to the destruction of the whole world, the whole Earth. And so thereby, there's really nothing else that could cure such poison in any of the region except the omniscient physician which is the wisdom of the Buddhas and Bodhisattva. That really is the only antidote that can eliminate the 5 poisons. So we really need to have to rely on the wisdom of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
然后说，知以若不行，吃即应呵责。比如说我们一个人他得了癌症，然后呢，他知道有治疗这个癌症的一个药方，然后放在旁边自己不去治疗，然后就不去用这个药，然后一直让自己的这个病一直恶化，等死的话，大家都会觉得这个好愚痴哦。真正有药在他旁边，他不去用，会这样想吗？所以一样的道理，就这里说，我们可以治疗这个嗔恨心等一切这些烦恼的这个药，已经有了佛菩萨已经给佛已经给我们了。但是如果我们不去行持的话，这个极为的愚痴愚痴到极点呢是应呵责，就是说这种人就是真的是很愚昧很愚痴，他有这样的可以治他的病的一个药，他还不去用这个药，然后就是继续往下走这个意思。所以呢，我们如果是已经知道了可以治疗五毒的这个药，我们也知道怎么去治疗，我们还不去治疗的话，这是极其就是愚痴的一个做法，一个行为这样。
Here says that if I so here again it said, if I disregard the counsel and of the omniscient physician who removes every pain, shame on me, extremely deluded one that I am. When it says that shame on me, extremely deluded, it means that, for example, if someone has cancer today and they know there's a medicine or treatment for this cancer, and yet that person decides not to use the treatment and not to be treated and allow the cancer to become more severe and lead to reach the death, then everybody would think that this is really something stupid to not use the treatment, to not be treated. So here, likewise, this is the same. Here we already have the treatment to the illness of the 5 poisons, which is the wisdom of the Buddhas and Bodhisattva. However, we will be considered as something really deluded or stupid if we do not use these treatments to cure our own 5 poisons. So thereby, this is something that we can think about, that if we already have what's able to be treat the 5 poisons and we don't use it, then we will be considered as really extremely deluded ones here, as it points out.
然后接下来呢是以闲处之喻说明，之上呢就是用医生跟这个病人之间的这样一个比喻来说明。接下来呢就是用闲处之喻说明若欲寻常闲，忧许谨慎防护况斗千由寻，常记闲难处。这就是比如说我们在活着的时候，我们去到一些比较斜坡或者比较陡的地方，或者比较高楼这样的时候，大家都很谨慎的很怕会掉下去，很谨慎的为了防避自己会从那个悬崖掉下去，会从那个很高的地方掉下去，大家很谨慎的在那里走那如果是这样的一个悬崖，我们都会那样谨慎的话，那更何况就是有千由旬这个就是很高的高崖。这个并不是说是这个地狱有多高多深，只是用它的痛苦的这个角度来说，就是千由旬的这个这么高的这个悬崖。然后呢，在这里受痛苦的时间也是长届就不是几天或是几个月或是几年或是几百年或是几千年，而是长达几届的这样的一个危险的地方的话，我们是不是更应该谨慎这样的意思所以呢，这个就是诸佛菩萨们用不一样的角度让我们明白这个道理。因为我们众生只是说你会下地狱如果是造业的话，你不忏悔的话会受痛苦，只是这样讲不明白，众生无明无知不明白，所以用各种各样的比喻，我们今生可以看得到的例子来告诉我们，希望我们明白 所以呢，用这么多的这个比喻来告诉我们，希望我们能够明白这个道理，然后呢，就是做一些对自己好的事情，是这样。
Here it says that if I, so we have just used the metaphor of physician and patient, and now we'll be using the metaphor of somewhere steep or somewhere that's very dangerous environment. So here it says that if I stand very attentive even on a smaller cliff, then how much more so on an enduring chasm of 1,000 leagues? So here, for example, when we go somewhere that's really high or really steep, we'll be really careful in walking, make sure that we walk carefully and not to fall. But so if we are so careful when we're walking somewhere steep like a cliff, then it's not to say if we're walking on this series as the chasm of 1,000 leagues. This is not to say that in a really physical sense, but like a metaphor to say to describe hell rough, that it's the amount of suffering hell rough is like 1,000 leagues, is that severe and long. So because in the suffering of the hell rough is not just few years, it's not 100 years or 1,000 years, but it's measured in the kalpa, the measurement of kalpa. So even so, by then shouldn't we be even more careful in terms of our own conduct, not to make sure not to take rebirth in the lower realms. So here, these are all really metaphors or perspectives that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas try to use to help us sentient beings to understand what is it they're trying to tell us. That it's really the truth of our existence. For example, that we're using different perspectives for us to understand. If you just simply say to someone, "Oh, if you don't engage in practice of accumulating merits, then you'll be take rebirth in the lower realm, such as hell realm, or if you don't practice confession, then you will endure suffering later on." If you just simply said that to sentient beings, then they may not really understand the significance of it or the severity of it. So thereby, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they use all these kind of perspective and metaphors to really let us have a really full understanding of what the teaching is about, and then really engage in ourselves in the practice of positive actions or accumulating positive karma.
这一上来就是讲述了我们的业力的可怕，然后呢，我们应该要就是修行的这个比喻这些都讲了。那如果是要修行的话，是不是我们可以等就是等我几年呢，或者等我老了以后再修等等的这样呢？是不是可以等了？接下来就给我们理由，就说不能等。修行忏悔业障，这是不能等的为什么呢？接下来就是给的例子，就是迅速精进分3：一是寿命不可靠，二是受用不可靠，三是亲友不可靠。所以呢，我们要迅速的修行。第一个是寿命不可靠，若思今不死，安逸此非礼，物生终归尽，死期必降临首先就是讲寿命不可靠，所以呢，我们必须得就是尽快的就是该修的修，该忏悔的忏悔这样，因为寿命是不可靠的我们谁知道我明天不会死，或者明年不会死？任何人都没有办法决定的。为什么不能决定呢？因为我们可以亲身经验到，我们亲眼看到的很多很多的例子就是很多人以为自己还不死，然后就是突然死亡的，有年老的，有年轻的，有小孩子甚至是有婴儿里面有完全身体很健康的，也有很有权力的，也有很有钱的，全部包括在里面。大家都不以为说我会死，但是突然死亡的有多少？所以呢，若思今不死，安逸此非礼，这是完全没有道理的，完全没有任何理由说我因为还不死，所以我现在这个不需用精进的修行，这是非礼。
第二个的例子
第二、第三还没有讲到，好，下面会讲到。
So here, and then now we begin onto, as we have known, on the horror of the negative karma. Then within the, and now that we understand the horror of suffering if we accumulate negative karma, and then we have the sense of urgency to practice, then are we able to just wait till we practice, wait till we're later on to practice, or practice when we are old? So the answer is no, and here begin gives the reason that we cannot read that in terms of practice. This is something that we cannot wait for. And so again, it points out that here begin with the practice of diligence, and with the first one, because life is one of the first reason is that life is unreliable. Our life is unreliable. As it says, it is inappropriate for me to be at ease, thinking just today death will not arrive. The time when I will not exist is inevitable. So here points out that we really need to understand that our life is something that's not reliable, and we need to practice right away, because there's no one that can have this complete confirmation or complete assurance that they will not die tomorrow. The reason is because we have seen so many examples in our lives already. We have seen that many people that they think they wouldn't die today, and yet they have passed away. And among these people, there are the old people, the old ones, young ones, even babies. And there are those who were healthy, powerful, or rich. None of these people thought they would die, and yet they have passed away. So by looking at this, it's really, really unreasonable to think that we would not die today or tomorrow.
物生终归尽，此其必降临。所以说，只要我们有生的一天，就一定会有死的一天。所以呢，死期是一定会降临的。所以我们没有任何的理由说，还可以等啊，现在还没有关系啊，等等，完全没有任何的理由可以这样等着，然后就是不去忏悔，然后不去修行，没有任何的理由因为第一个，我们是一定会死；第二个，我们什么时候死，任何人都不知道所以呢，这个就是我们没有任何的理由要逃避不精进修行，没有任何的理由逃避说我现在还不死的，完全没有的所以在这样的情况下，我们都还放逸，然后呢就不忏悔业障，然后不精进的修行的话，就是真正的是就是非常的愚昧真正的是无知的一个行为而已，没有什么别的所以呢，这里说物生终归尽，此期必降临，一定会降临的，这个任何人都知道的所以呢，这个说我们就是必须要精进的，用快速的要做的事情先要做好，这样。
So here is that the time that I will not exist is inevitable. Here, so as long as we are alive, there will be death. So death is definitely going to occur, and so there's really no reason for us to wait to practice confession and other practices, because one, we will definitely die, and two, we don't know when we will die. So there's really no reason not to be diligent in our practice. There's really there's really no other reason, no valid reason at all. And yet, by knowing this, if we are continuing to be negligent of this situation we're in, and then we will be really considered as the deluded ones. So here again, the time that I will not exist is inevitable. So thereby, death is definitely inevitable. So we must really begin to become diligent in our practice.
谁赐我无惧，云何定解脱？倘若必死亡，为何今安逸？所以谁赐给你了就是不恐惧的这个以后会不恐惧的这个正见，或是怎么样你有什么理由说你不恐惧？如果是你已经证悟了，那你就真的不用恐惧了，那你就可以完完全全的就是放逸，或是不做任何的事情都可以了如果是你已经决定 已经可以解脱，你已经完全的就是可以自己觉得完全没有问题了，不会下地狱，不会到六道不会接受这些痛苦如果已经定的话，那也没有关系。但是如果没有这样的话，那为什么还要在那里放逸，然后呢就是不去修行，不去忏悔呢？所以呢，这里就是没有任何的理由。当我们还没有真正的自己有那个就是解脱的怎么说？这个自己一定会解脱的这种自信的话，我们就还是要真正的好好的精进的去修行的。
Who can give me fearlessness? How shall I escape? I shall certainly not exist. Why is my mind at ease? So here it really points out that who gave us the sense of fearlessness or no need to fear? What is the reason that you have that you don't need to fear? If you're someone who have attained the ultimate realization, then yeah, you don't have to do anything. You can be negligent, and because you are confident that you will no longer endure any rebirth or suffering. However, if you're not someone like that and not confident that you not confident that you will be liberated, then you should continue to practice. Saying because there's no point, no reason that you are being negligent and not decide not to practice if you're not so. So thereby, if we don't have the confidence that we will definitely be liberated, then we really should be diligent in our practice.
这一上来就是主要讲我们要精进，要迅速的修行，因为寿命不可靠这样。接下来呢是讲受用不可靠，因为受用也不可靠，所以不要因为为了受用而造很多的业力，主要是这个意思。说出意悉精力精物复合语然因执着彼虑为上师教就是因为自己的受用和这些财产等等的这些，为了这些不要不要违反上师的教言，不要违反誓言，不要违反因果因为这些受用都是不可靠的。当你走的时候，这些受用你一分钱一针一线你都是拿不走的，所以呢，这些是这个是不可靠的、不就近的东西，所以不要为了一些受用呢就是造业这样。
So here we're pointed out that we must be diligent in our practice because the first reason is our life is something unreliable. And then here the second one is our possession. What we have for use is unreliable as well. As it reads, what value has remained with me from earlier experiences which have disappeared and engrossed in which I neglected the counsel of spiritual mentors? So here it points out that our experience and our possession is something that's not reliable at all. So there's really no point for the purpose of trying to engage in accumulating negative karma for the purpose of our possessions or our experiences, and also not to violate the counsels of our spiritual mentor or our teacher. So this is to point out that our possession or our experiences is not reliable at all because they have already disappeared, as it points out.
然后接下来说亲友不可靠此生若须舍，亲友亦如是，独行无定所何须解亲仇所以呢，我们所说的今生的亲人，然后呢是冤敌或是仇人，我们没有必要就说建立那么多的这个执着所以因为这些亲友也是不可靠的，就不用说你死亡的时候，就是在今生的时候，如果是你去任何的地方，你去的时候，所有的亲人也不会跟随着你，每天就是每时每刻不会跟随着你所以呢，更何况当死亡的时候也不会跟随，所以呢，就是不要为了亲人然后就是这个制造很多的这个罪业就是制造那个仇敌、仇恨然后制造这个业力是没有必要的，因为这些都是没有任何的意义的。
And here now it says that the relative or friends, they are also unreliable as well. Upon forsaking my relative and friend in this world of the living, alone I shall go elsewhere. What is the use of all my friends and enemies? So then it says that in this life, relative friends, whether it's loved ones or enemies, there's really no point to have too much attachment and create negative karma because of them, as they are something that's not reliable at all. Not to say death, but even in this life, they will not be with you in this life at every moment. So, and also at the time of death, they will definitely not follow you. So there's really no point to create any negative karma for because of them, because in the end, there's really no point at all.
然后接下来呢，就是如何精进。那如果是亲友也不重要，受用也不可靠，然后呢，就是生命也不可靠，那我现在要精进的修行的话，要该怎么样去精进的修行呢？这里分了就是意乐的精进加行，意乐和加行分两个。首先是讲意乐，不善生诸苦，云何得解得脱于？故物当一心，日夜思除苦。首先我们的意乐就是要知道不善的业生出来的是什么呢？生出来的一切的痛苦。然后呢，我们要从这个痛苦解出或者脱离这些痛苦的话，要怎么样呢？就是我们要一心一意的日夜就思维要该怎么样从这个痛苦中脱离出来就是这个要去一一的去思维。
So here, as we realize that our relative and friends, our possession, and our lives are reliable, then how are we able to be diligent? So here it continues that there's the to be diligent, there's the motivation as well as the action. Or the motivation is that here points out that in that case, only this concern is appropriate for me day and night. How shall I surely escape suffering on account of that non-virtue? So the motivation is that we need to know that the only thing the negative karma leads is to more suffering. So here we need to completely focus on day and night on how to be free from these suffering, from this non-virtue or negative karma.
接下来就是加行，加行就是正视正视要这个忏悔的时候是怎么样呢？就是勿因无明痴犯诸自性罪，或佛所治罪，如是诸过罪，合掌护主前，以为罪苦心，再三礼诸佛，遣除一切罪。这个也就是因为我的无明无痴所犯下的自性罪。什么叫做自性罪呢？我们杀生是自性罪，偷盗是自性罪，妄语是自性罪，这些都是自性罪。这些就是自性罪。那佛治罪是什么呢？佛治的罪就是比如说比丘过午不食或者是我们在受八关斋戒的时候，我们这个比如说下午不能讲话啦，或者就过午不食啦，这个就是等等的，就是这些有一部分是佛治罪这些一切的罪过，我以前如果有犯这些罪过的话，我就是在诸佛菩萨面前双手合掌，一心一意的就为在这个忏悔我这些的一切罪过，然后呢，在佛前做礼拜然后呢，就是忏悔这些一切罪过，这样。
So here now on the actual action or actual method on confession is that whatever vice, whatever natural misdeed, and whatever misdeed by prohibition I, an ignorant fool, have accumulated, terrified of suffering, all this I confess, standing with folded hands in the presence of the protector and bowing repeatedly. So here, and because of our ignorance, we have committed many of the natural misdeed. What is considered as the natural misdeed, including killing, stealing, as well as lying, and also the instead of prohibition by the Buddha, for example. The bhikshu they're not supposed to eat after lunch. So if they violated that, then that's violation of prohibition, and that's also observed when we engage in the union practice. And there's also many more, etc. So here that if we have transgressed much of these if we have violated these things, then here today I standing with folded hands, and we bow to the protector and engage in prostration as the method of practicing confession.
所以这里说再三礼诸佛，遣除一切罪。所以呢，我们就是念白字明啊，金刚萨埵啊，然后呢，在诸佛菩萨有诸佛菩萨的唐卡也好，佛像也好，或者是自己观想也好啊，在这个面前呢，就是忏悔啊，自己生生世世累积的这些一切罪过。然后我们都知道修金刚萨埵的时候忏悔，做礼拜的时候要怎么观想等等的这些观想的能够就是尽量观想的清楚，然后呢就是一心一意的应该要忏悔这些罪过。这就是我们刚刚所说的现行对治力，就是对我们的以前的一切罪过，我们为什么要忏悔罪过，刚刚举了很多的例子就是让我们知道，然后呢是怎么样忏悔罪过这就是现行对治力，这里讲完了。
最后一个忏悔的念的过程。
首先是知道为什么要忏悔罪业，然后知道忏悔为什么要忏悔，然后就是怎么样忏悔这个罪业。
So here it says to bowing repeatedly prostrate or bowing prostrating to the Buddha. So here when we know that we can practice the recitation of 100-syllable Bodhicaryavatara mantra, and then we do so in front of the or prostration in front of representation of the Buddhas or do visualization, so that and in front of them we confess all the previous karmic downfall we have committed, and also including the teaching of visualizing Vajrasattva. We all know the details on and how to visualize. So this is all regarding as the power of antidote, because and as we know that now we understand why is there need to engage in actual confession, and we'll also learn how to actually engage in the practice of confession here.
所以我们知道对治力里面就是第三个对治力，就是真正的在忏悔的那个过程，真正的在忏悔。你这里是只讲了一个做礼拜也好，绕佛塔也好，绕寺庙也好，绕坛城也好，或者是上供下施，或者只是念这个百字明，念金刚萨埵，这些都是现行对治力这些都是正在忏悔的，这些都是可以做来我们忏悔业障的这些这个行为。所以呢，这里讲的是就是顶礼来忏悔这样。
So now we know that the third power, the power of antidotes, the actual process or the actual practice of confession, whether it's doing prostration or circumambulating stupas or temples, or practice of offering generosity or reciting 100 syllables or Bodhisattva heart mantra. These are all methods or the antidote that we practice in engage in the practice of confession. And just so that here it points out the method of prostration.
这个就好像我们一个人吃了服用了毒药以后，正在用一个其他的药品在治疗这个毒药的过程一样的。然后接下来呢，就是返回对治力。返回对治力是什么呢？就是从此以后我再也不造业了。意思就是说，你这个吃了毒药以后，治疗好了以后，也就是打自内心的想，我以后再不要服这种毒药。这样，就是说诸佛起宽恕往昔所造罪，此即非善行， 偶后誓不为这个就是说从此以后我再也不造这样的业了，以前所造的这些一切业力呢，请诸佛菩萨们就是宽恕请你们接受我的忏悔，从此以后呢，我再也不造业了这个就是返回对治力我们要把以前所造的业力彻底的清净，最重要的一条就是返回对治力。如果说我们之前的那些也忏悔了，这样如果是你没有这个决心说以后再不造这样的业的话，这个业力没有办法彻底的清净。所以呢，彻底的这个清净，这是非常重要的。我们忏悔业力的时候，尤其是有些业力我们还没有忏悔，比如说一个这个屠夫，他虽然之前所造的业力他还没有忏悔，但是呢，他下定决心，从此以后我不再宰杀这些众生的时候，他有一个这样坚定不移的这个决心，或是这个誓言承诺的时候呢，从此以后他以前杀业的那个罪过不会增长，可以马上就断掉他那个业力的增长所以这个的力量是很大的。
So here, now this is just as like a person having consumed poison and trying to use another medicine to cure that poison. And then now we're moving to the next power, is the power of resolution, such that there's the commitment that from now on I will never commit such negative karma again. So this is just like to never consume the poison again. And here it reads, may the guides be aware of my transgressions together with my iniquity. O protectors, may I not commit this evil again. So this is something that's very important, which we actually vow that to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, from now on, I will never commit such negative karma again, and so please accept my confession. So this is the power of resolution. If we wish to truly purify all of our previous, completely purify our karmic obscurations before, then this is the most important power, the power of resolution. This is very important because but only by doing so, you're able to purify all the karma. For example, if there's a butcher, and if he has not yet confessed on all the killings that he had done before, but yet he had a resolution to vow to never kill again, then the previous negative karma he had committed will no longer grow. So thereby, this power of resolution is very strong. It's really essential in the practice of confession.
所以呢，任何的罪业，如果我们还没有打自内心的，就是下定决心，我不要再做这样的罪业的时候，它这个罪是一直会增长的，它罪业是一直会增长的。当你有一天下定决心我一个刚刚我举的例子，屠夫再也不杀生的这样的一个决心出来的时候，这时候你的这个罪业就停顿了，它不会再增长了。当然以前你造的那当然会有，但是以后再也不会增长了。
So in terms of any karmic obscuration, if we don't have the determination to not to ever commit this again, then it will continue to grow. If we have this determination to never commit, for example, the butcher here to vow to never kill, then yes, then your previous negative karma will no longer grow. But then however, they will be there, but then they will no longer continue to grow and become more severe.
所以以前在藏地的很多高僧大德们，他们就是叫在家居士们就是在三宝面前就是发誓我不抽烟，不喝酒，不杀生，不偷盗，不打猎等等等等的。然后就有些人说我从来都不做但是你不做，那就是你只是不做而已。但是以前你做过的话，这些罪业一直还在长。所以呢，当你就算是很多年你没有做这样的事情，你到一个高僧大德面前你发誓，或者是在佛菩萨面前发誓，从此以后我不做的时候，这个功德是相当大的。你虽然没有做，但是你这样再做一个承诺的时候，你的这个业绩就彻底的断掉了所以不要以为我不做我就不需要去承诺，不要这样想，因为我今生就算没有做，也许我生生世世做过这样的事情 所以呢，就是从此以后就是在上师三宝面前呢，就是自己承诺，我遇到再怎么大的这个困难，我也不再造作这样的恶业的时候，你的恶业就真的是彻底的那个增长恶业的部分就断掉了所以呢，这个方面是很多人不是很懂的，所以我们要知道你在那个三宝面前做的承诺发的这个誓的功效是非常非常强大的可以断出以后你的这些业力不增长的这个效果，这是很殊胜的，非常非常好的所以呢，这个大家要清楚。
So thereby, and many great masters of Tibet, they have often taught lay people to go in front of the three jewels, representation of three jewels, and make a commitment or vow to never smoke or do hunting or any of the negative, to commit any of these negative karma. And yet these lay people, they may say that, oh, but we don't do these things anyway. However, even if you have not done so now, you may have done so in your previous life, etc. So, but then making that commitment has really strong power to really make sure that all the negative karma no longer grow and they'll be completely purified later on. So thereby, if you're able to make this commitment in front of the three jewels and have this kind of determination, then it's really immense merit and able to allow you to help you even more purify all the previous karmic obscurations. So thereby, it's very vital that if we can go through the three jewels, and we vow that even if by endangering our lives, we will no longer commit any of these negative actions, then this commitment has a very strong power that will be very effective in your practice of confession.
所以呢，这些我们在闻思的过程当中这些真正的内容，真正的这些意义，我们如果说懂的话，我们就知道在生活当中我们要怎么样修行。我们只是文字上的一个解释，我们懂，但是真正的含义，对于怎么样有就是修行上有利益这些不懂的话那我们就不会有很大的帮助。所以呢，这些我们都就在学习这个四对治力的时候，我们每一个对治力它究竟的意义是什么？它究竟起到的作用是什么？这些我们都要一一的去了解这样了解的时候呢，我们才会知道，就是刚刚我们讲的两个，今天讲的是现行对治力。现行对治力举了那么多的例子所以就是让我们真正的去想一下，真的很有道理那些每一个例子我们去一一的去思维一下，我们还不精进的修行真的是很笨所以我们自己去想一下，真的是可以让我们觉悟到说，真的是我以前做的事情很笨，不应该这样。所以让我们很快速的说自己要去修行这样的念头，这个就是我们要闻思的目的。然后第四个返回对治力，就说这个决心呢，虽然就是一刹那的一个决心，但是这个一刹那这个决心起到的作用有多大？你可以想一下，我们平时不做这样的一个决心，那你就根本得不到那些功德，你也没有阻止你以前所造的这些业力。但是一旦你做这样的一个决心的话，你阻止了以前所造的那些所有种种恶业的罪业的增长，在同时你也积累了很大的功德。然后这个不懂这些是多可惜的事情所以呢，这些方面都是虽然是很细微的东西，但是这是很重要的事情所以你们在学习的过程当中，这些都应该要真正的记在心里面，然后常常去实修我们有时候修行并不是常常就是念诵就是修行或是怎么样，我们有很多就是思维，然后心里面观想，心里面做一些承诺誓言等等，这些都是非常重要的修行。我们因为这个五毒烦恼这个 病呢是个非常严重的病，而且这个病是很难治疗的一个病所以呢我们要想方设计，用各种各样的方式来治疗这些病呢。我们一定要把这些五毒看待成一个病呢这个不但是一个病，这是一个非常严重的疾病，我们要把它看待成一个严重的疾病这样我们才有办法真正的当这个产生在自己的相续当中有的时候，我们才会马上想到我要怎么样去这个治疗这种病呢？要不然的话，我们真的是很难就是治疗它，因为它从无始以来就跟我们相续当中就在跟我们一起，后来慢慢的我们认为这个就是我所以这样就是真正的陷入了一个很大的陷阱，这个不是我，这是一个病这是我们的病所以有时候我们在修行的时候也好，做善事的时候也好，就是久而久之在那个很深层的地方突然出现一个自私的心就算是在刚开始当初的时候想要帮人或者帮助别人，跟别人讲话，突然冒出一个在那里世间八法的心，为了名誉，为了地位，或者为了别人跟你说一些好话，这样的一个念头，这就是病这个就是好像一个魔或者一个强盗在你背后，一看到你要积累了一些钱，你有一点金钱的时候，他想偷你这些金钱，一模一样的。所以我们这个时候就是非常要谨慎的我们所说的正知正念，要有正知正念。当我们在帮助别人的时候，一定要观察自己的这个起心动念，这里面有没有魔掺杂。所谓的有没有魔，也就是有没有这个五毒在这里面就是作怪一定要观察。然后我们在做上供下施，或是在做这个任何帮助这个弘法利生的事业的时候，要观察自己的心我这里面心的深层很深的地方有没有自私的一个念头，有没有一个说名誉地位或是世间八法的念头，如果有的话马上要拔掉，如果你不拔掉的话，你做的事情都浪费了所以呢这是非常重要的我们很多时候不观察的时候，你表面上看起来好像是在帮人或者做这样做那样，就算跟别人讲个话，你要观察自己的起心动念你跟别人讲话，讲佛法也好，讲什么时候看一下自己的起心动念是为了什么在讲这些都是我们就是日常的生活当中可以做的事情。当我们这样做的时候，你就会慢慢的变成一个真正的修行人。一旦你变成一个真正的修行的人的时候，他是一个非常非常心胸是很开阔的很开朗的。然后呢这个时候就是真的是要自由的话，这个时候才会真正的自由你的心还没有开放的时候，是外面再怎么自由，其实你是完全不自由的。为什么呢？你是被五毒绑架的死的你一下子怕别人说你的坏话，一下子怕别人看不起你，一下子怕别人说我可能不漂亮，或者我不是修行者等等的，怕这个怕那个，躲这个躲那个，你把自己绑得死的。当你把内心的这些真正的自私心，然后呢就是世间八法的这些全部拔掉的时候，你完全的就是自由了。这个时候你就完全没有被这些五毒绑架所以呢这是非常非常重要的。对一个修行人有没有进步，我们一个月2个月看不出来，1年2年看不出来，过个5、6年的时候，你就会看得出来一个修行人的是真正的内在有修行或是没有修行，就慢慢的会呈现出来的。我们要看一个人的好坏也好，看一个人的修行好不好也好，这些都是很多人就很快就决定说这个人修行好，那个人修行多高多高多了不起的，这些全部都是没有办法决定的。时间过去了以后，你就会看得出来真正的修行人是怎么样的，真正的修行是怎么样的就根本不用讲，自然而然就会流露出来的。如果是一个纯黄金的话， 它表面上就算有多厚的灰尘，慢慢会铺露出来，它是真正的黄金的。如果里面不是黄金的话，外面擦的再光亮的黄金的颜色，它真正也不是黄金。所以你要变成一个修行人的话，就是要打自内心的把这些我刚刚讲的一切的那些一点一滴的看能不能够做到，能够做到，那就是变成真正的修行者了所以这是非常重要的当然我们想一时就全部做到，这是不可能的，我们也不会期待这样。但是呢，我们一点一滴的，就是每年要有一点点的进步。每年就是今年比去年要有一点进步，明年比今年还有一点进步这样一点一点的有进步的时候呢，我们就是真正的会变成一个修行者。变成修行者又怎么样呢？这样的话，我们就是自利利他的行为就慢慢的就可以了。
So here, during our process of learning and contemplating, if we are really able to grasp the meaning of these teachings, then we are able to know how to practice in our lives. If we only know them by mere words, but not knowing how these teachings will benefit us, then it wouldn't be really helpful for us. We have learned about the four powers, and if we're able to really understand the ultimate meaning and then as well as the function of these four powers, then we, as we continue to learn them individually, then we will able to be really beneficial in our lives by understanding them. Such as we have learned the power of antidote. If we're able to begin to contemplate the teaching on the power of antidote, then we will really come to this to the state that we really understand that it's something that truly makes sense. And then if we're able to contemplate thoroughly, then we'll understand that to not diligently practice is something that's really, really stupid. And I've come to realization that what we have engaged in previously is also not wise and stupid as well. So, and then by then we'll have this sense of urgency to practice. And then likewise, the power of resolution. The power of resolution, although it's only a moment that you have this commitment or resolution, but then that moment of resolution really has such immense power and an effect that it's able to help you in your practice. Because think about it, if you don't do so, if you don't have this kind of determination or resolution, not only you're not committed to never commit these negative karma again, but these negative karma will continue to grow. However, if you have the resolution, then not only it will stop the negative karma previously from growing, but also you're able to accumulate merits, and you have this commitment not to commit negative karma again. So thereby, all these instructions, these are something that we really need to keep in mind and put them into practice. Many times we need to understand that practice is not just reciting something or just saying something, but it's also involved in contemplating, making commitments, and also many other methods of practice. The 5 poison, this is something that's a very severe and hard to treat illness. So thereby we need to use all the methods that we have learned to treat them. We must really first treat these 5 poison as an illness, as well as a very serious illness, so that when they arise in our mind stream, if we know how to treat them, then we were able to apply these treatments or methods to treat them. Or else it will be really hard because they are with us from the beginning of this time. And as time goes on, we begin to have this misunderstanding that this is who we are, but really it's not us. This is just an illness. So thereby, whether it's practice, whenever in our practice or whether it's in our practice or in our mind stream, sometimes there'll be a thought of selfish intent, or sometime when we want to help others, and then all of a sudden we have this thought of inwardly concerns. This is what we're referring as illness or the 5 poison, or just as saying that it's like a robber who wants to rob us of our own wealth. So here we really need to be cautious and really be mindful that when we are engaged in helping others, we need to really watch our motivation and to observe if there's any demonic forces. The demonic forces is actually referring to the 5 poisons. So whether when we engage in the practice of offering or generosity or anything that we do in the process of propagating Buddha Dharma, we need to really observe our mind, whether there's any elements of selfish intent or worldly concerns. If they are present, then we need to make sure to eliminate them, or else what you have done is really futile, it's useless. So this is something that's very, very important when we are interacting with different people, whether it's talking about Buddha Dharma or anything. We really need to observe what our motivation is, and this is something that we can do in our life. It's something that we can really put forth in action. If we're able to do so, then we're able to truly become a genuine practitioner. And as a genuine practitioner, it means that someone with a really big heart and someone who's really have a openness to the things in life. And this is really the moment that we will truly become free. Because if our mind is not free, then no matter how it seems you are free on the outside, that's not really genuine freedom. When our mind's not free, when it's bound closely by poison, then this is not freedom. If we are really often afraid of someone else talking about us, saying bad things about us, whether we are not pretty, whether we are doing this and that, then that is not freedom. Our mind is still bound. So if we're able to eliminate the worldly concerns and all the other selfish intents, then by then your mind will be truly free. And that is really a genuine sign of progression. This is not something that you can try to probably see in a couple of months or just a few years. But after 5-6 years, if you have generally put forth in practice, then you'll be able to see as a progression of a practitioner. To observe someone in a short period of time cannot really determine whether this is a genuine practitioner or not. But it has to be because it has to be done so in a long period of time. However, after many years, if the practitioner continues to progress, then they will begin to show signs that there's really nothing to be said. It can be observed directly without saying anything. Just for example, if a bar of gold is truly genuine gold, even if it's dusted, you can still see that it's gold. But if it's not, then it will never be. So just as if we're able to really remember all these teachings that we have been receiving and put them forth in action, then it is good. It will be really beneficial for us. Of course, it is really impossible to able to do all these things right away. But at least you need to have progression from a year after another, that you can gradually progress from this year till next year. And as you gradually progress as the years goes on, then you will be able to truly become a genuine practitioner. And that will be really referring to we're able to be able to fulfill what we're referring as to benefit ourselves as well as benefiting others.
那今天我们就讲到这里，介绍呢就是入菩萨行论的第2品讲完了。
And that concludes the morning's teaching, and this is the concluding the 2nd chapter on the Bodhisattva way of life.